You know, a lot of people didn't see this coming. Yeah, it's being called the most shocking upset in the history of presidential politics. Our new president-elect is Donald J. Trump. So, how'd the evening go for y'all?
Well, we were on Lifetime last night.
Right.
And I was slowly getting drunk, is what happened to me.
Were you really?
Yes, she was.
Not really.
This is just in. Florida went the other way. I'm just kidding.
You know, it was a rough night for everybody,
Yeah.
I think. You know, we're worried. The people are worried, you know. Okay, he's the president. Now what? We're watching you, okay?
Yeah.
What scares me the most, I don't know what scares all the rest of you the most, is that not since George W. Bush has there been a White House, a Senate, and a House of Representatives all from the same party. And then the FBI has stuck its nasty little nose in the middle of this. Plus the Supreme Court, who knows where that's going to go. So the only checks and balances we have are us, The View.
Yeah,
That's it.
That sounds great in theory, but one of the things he did was
Yeah.
he blocked media out of things. They weren't even allowed to go on his plane.
Yeah, but we're not going on his plane. We're going to stay right here and
Yeah.
talk.
Yeah, but remember, within the party, and I've been talking about this a lot, within the Republican Party, there are such bold differences. You have a libertarian wing of the party. I've always said, how does John McCain and Rand Paul wind up in the same party? They disagree fundamentally on foreign policy issues. I mean, Hillary Clinton was far more hawkish in her speech than Donald Trump was. So I think there are a lot of checks still. I think the Republican Party is trying to figure out who they are and what they stand for. And Donald Trump will want to do some things that people in that party will not approve of and will stand up against. And they will fight for other things that he necessarily doesn't represent. So just because something says Republican doesn't mean that there's a consensus on issues. I can say that for sure.
We'll see.
Well,
Plus, you're here. You're here to take him on every minute of the day.
That's right. That's right. You know, and I'm already on his enemies list, as are you, Whoopi. So.
Okay, last thought. The only thing that I think the scary part for me was maybe being caught off guard that I wasn't in touch with the country I live in, and that maybe I am in a bubble when critics come out on social media and say you don't know what the world's about. Sadly, now I woke up and I thought maybe I don't. Like it really was like a punch in the gut.
Yeah.
You know.
I have to say, my heart is beating so fast. I'm a little nervous to even speak today. I honestly didn't think I'd be sitting on this side of it this morning.
You thought she was going to win.
I didn't think Donald was going to win.
No one.
And I can't say that I'm upset about it. I know that over half of America voted him in and are happy that he's there. And yet, I'm in this room with a lot of people that don't seem to be happy about it. And although there are so many things, the way that he has spoken and talked about people that I absolutely do not agree with, I was a person that voted on policy. And so in that sense, I am happy with the result. And yet, if anything, I hope, no matter which side you were on, it brings all of us as a people to a horizontal posture, that it brings us to our knees, our face to the floor, that we pray for our country, that we pray for him, whether you think he could turn this upside down, or you're praying that he will uphold the positions that he said he would. I pray that we come together for that in humility, because God says when we humble ourselves.
Well, yeah, God says a lot of wonderful stuff. He really does. And I like God a lot. But I have to say that given the bigger picture of what Donald Trump represents, it is not so comfortable for me. Because not only does he now threaten how things are going to be done with kids of color, with women's rights, with my right to decide what is right for my body, not what somebody else says what is right is. That for somebody, not just my rights about my body, but, you know, my friends' children are afraid because this fool has said, and I know he's the president, but for me, when you scare children by saying you're not going to let them stay in the country, you're going to separate them out, children don't know what you're talking about. They hear these things, and it's crazy. And this is a bigger picture. This is bigger than him. This ripples out in so many different, affects gay folks, gay marriage, transgender people. This has huge effects. Whether we are a nation who believes in people's rights as they are constitutionally guaranteed, whether we're a nation that believes in the rights as God has guaranteed, whatever you believe, no child should be afraid that their parents are going to be taken away because they're Muslim or because they're Mexican or because they're black. No kid should ever have to deal with that. And that, to me, is an issue.
And that's why I pray for unity. And I do believe that God is sovereign and can use the most unlikely and unimaginable people to change things. And if this 4 years doesn't go the way that the American people hope for that voted him in, then I pray it's a kick in the pants that we all find a candidate that comes together for a more common ground for all of us over the next 4 years.
Well, what would be great, yes, go ahead. Yes? You know, and all those things are great. But for people who don't have a relationship with God, that is your relationship, or anybody else's relationship, what do they do?
I think they wait to see what he does, because a reminder to everyone is this man has been on both sides of many issues. He was pro-choice, then he was pro-life. He was supporting government-run health care, and now he's opposing Obamacare. So my concern with him was we really don't know what he's going to do. I don't think he's going to be some conservative warrior in there.
Listen, I'm not worried about him. I'm worried about
who he's going to hire,
who he's going to put around him. What I've seen around him gives me pause. What I see is stop and frisk coming back. What I see are things that I don't want to see anymore. But people didn't think about that. They voted their conscience and their issue, and, you know, you get what you deserve. We got what we deserve. A lot of people voted him in, and we'll see what happens.
You know what I learned?
What did you learn?
I learned that, as usual, men can get away with anything, and women can get away with nothing. That's what I learned. Unbelievably divisive, bigoted, racist, homophobic, against handicapped people, against John McCain, and yet he won. She made some mistakes, but not like that.
But that's not what they were voting on. People were looking at their Obamacare, their health insurance costs skyrocket. They were looking at the fact that they can't put food on the table.
Not that many people on Obamacare to put him over the edge.
You have a 22% hike.
You know what?
Let's see.
I want to see what he's going to do next, because he promised that he's going to repeal Obamacare and put in something else. Now, I like his people to remember, he once said he believes in single payer. So let's see. You know what that is? Socialism.
It is. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Like Bernie said.
You know what? It happened.
He's not going to do anything he says.
Well, if he doesn't, we can kick his ass out.
He's going to build a wall with
you know, there is such a thing called impeachment, you know. But you know, look, we still have to put food on the table. We still have to go to work every day. We still have to feed our kids. And, you know, we've walked through these fires before. This is not the first time this has happened.
And here's the good news. Comedians are going to have a ball.